With so many phones that are being launched right now, it's easy to miss something like the Vivo V9 Pro. I think this phone totally deserves your attention because first of all, it's a nicely designed phone, and second, for 17,990, it offers a flagship-like experience in the mid-range. So if you're looking for something under 20k, do not miss this all-rounder. That's my recommendation. But before we find out what all flagship features it has, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you don't miss any of our videos. If you end up liking this, let us know in the comment section below. Let's get a discussion going. So let's start with the unboxing. Apart from the usual accessories and a fast charger, the box also includes a case, and by default the phone comes with a screen guard, which gets a thumbs up from me because this is by default an extra 1000 rupees we all spent. It's also good to see a decent pair of earphones. So let's get to the phone. The Vivo V9 Pro is glossy, it's slim, but it's very attractive. And despite the use of plastic, the quality is really good when it comes to fit and finish. The gold linings for the camera and the fingerprint sensor go really well, and the device does feel great in the hands. But of course it is glossy, so it is a fingerprint and dust magnet and might be prone to scratches as well, so definitely use the case. Over at the side you have really good clicky buttons. You can notice the super thin sides here. There is a really good loudspeaker at the bottom along with the 3.5mm audio jack and the micro USB port, no USB-C here. And on the left side we have the dedicated dual SIM slots and a micro SD card slot. At the front we have the 6.3-inch Full HD Plus display with that notch. No, there is no option to hide it in the software, but you can see it's not that big. The LCD screen is outright really good. Color, brightness, viewing angles, in every way it excels. I did find some slight loss of light in the corners of the notch and at the chin, but it never bothered me in day-to-day use. In fact, I didn't notice this issue at all until I saw it in full darkness with low brightness. At every angle I felt like this is a flagship quality display. The experience was above my expectations and was indeed surprised at how a dark wallpaper made it look really good, like an OLED panel almost. The Vivo V9 Pro has both the popular types of unlocking, fingerprint sensor at the back and AI face unlock at the front. I enabled them both because I do prefer face unlock, it's much less intrusive. It works even in low light, not with an IR sensor or anything, but the display lights up and I found it to work well most of the time. And when it didn't, I just used the super fast and reliable fingerprint sensor. There are dual cameras at the back. The main sensor is a 13 megapixel unit and the secondary sensor is a 2 megapixel unit. The main sensor standalone works really well. The dynamic range was great and the amount of sharpness and detail were impressive. By default, the photos tend to overexpose a bit and the colors are washed out with a shade of blue, but a little bit of editing got me some really good results, so I think it's fine. Here are some more that I really liked. Again, very good dynamic range, good sharpness and generally very impressed. But the portrait mode is an entirely different story. The secondary 2 megapixel sensor is just not great. It makes the main camera too slow to take shots, so you mostly end up with blurry results even in good light. And the edge detection with a low resolution sensor was worse than the AI based 16 megapixel front facing camera, which seemed to take way better portraits. Surprisingly, there was not a default beauty mode, so I always got super sharp selfies even in low light. So here's how the video looks on the front facing camera.
1080p, it's recording at Full HD. I hope you can hear me in all this noise. If you can hear me, that's a good sign.
The rear camera's video mode was also pretty decent, but I ended up being impressed more with the front facing camera. I was also impressed with some neat software touches throughout the OS based on Android 8.1 Oreo. It's called the Fun Touch OS. I like the way a notification can turn into split screen instantly. I ended up preferring the old iOS style swipe up for control center than reaching up top for toggles. While I immediately switched to a pixel launcher to get a neat looking Google look, I wasn't really bothered by other UI elements, even though they heavily rip off iOS. Yes, I used navigation gestures all day, every day, and it wasn't an issue at all. Overall, the OS ran really well with no hiccups, of course, thanks to the Snapdragon 660 artificial intelligence enabled with 6GB of RAM. To see how it did in games, I played PUBG on high settings. While the phone did heat up by the end of the game, there wasn't much of a frame drop. The 660 does a really good job. Day-to-day performance is of course super smooth. I never had problems switching between apps or even using multiple apps at the same time.
The device also always lasted me at least a day, sometimes even more. The 3260 mAh capacity might seem small, but the 660 is apparently very efficient. What can I say? I really tried hard finding flaws with this phone. I did find a few, like the subpar portrait mode, the barely noticeable light issues in the screen, and to stretch it, the lack of USB-C, that's it. If these are the only cons of this phone, then I believe this is one of the best options that you can get under 20k at 17,990 rupees and available for sale right now on Amazon. You get a full screen display which is great performance and battery life, a very decent pair of cameras front and back, and software with some really nice touches, and a price tag that doesn't break your bank. So to conclude, the Vivo V9 Pro is a respectable flagship-like experience in the mid-range, so do not miss this option when you're looking for a phone sub 20k. And that's about it for our in-depth look at this phone. If you have any more questions about this, we would love to answer them in the comment section below, and also let us know what you think about this phone, about this video, or whatever you want. Let's have a chat down there. As always, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon to not miss any of our videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day and thanks for watching.